Hey, hello everyone. Are you tired of hearing crickets when it comes to generating leads for your business? You're putting in the work. Maybe you've tried ads, you're posting on social media, and the leads just aren't rolling into you. I know it's super frustrating, right? I'm so glad that you're here in the Idea Lab. And in this little mini training, I'm going to show you a way to grow your leads organically without spending a dime on ads and in a way that feels authentic to you. Today, we're going to dive into how you can become a lead magnet through thought leadership, networking, and most of all, referrals. Sounds interesting, right? Stick with me till the end. Here's the thing. If
Welcome, everyone, to Together We Serve. What a cool video. Did you hear what she said? Networking. I think she said community, but connecting. We have to do it together as a community, as a group, tribe. There's so many words out there which are great. But this is the queen, the expert, the creme de la creme of all this. She's been super successful connecting people without ads. How many of you would like to save money on your ads? How many entrepreneurs like to connect with more people? Your network's your net worth. Well, we're going to learn a lot about that today, but we're also going to learn a servant's heart, how you can serve while you're connecting and building your network. This show is called How to Intentionally Create the Space for Connecting. The key word there is intentionally. Are you being intentional right now? Are you being intentional serving? Are you being intentional connecting? Are you being intentional building that tribe, community, or group, or whatever you want to call it? Well, let's bring our guest on to the show. Susan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I am so excited to have you on. I want to pull something out of that video, which I
Yeah.
loved. Idea Lab. I think
Yeah.
other people can do this. Talk about that.
Well, it's been a long journey. I started with a free Facebook group about 4 or 5 years ago, just with this idea of bringing entrepreneurs together to create a space for ideas in creativity and networking. And my dog wants her dinner. Sorry about that. We're live. And it was basically created because it's what I wanted. I just wasn't finding the community and the connection that I craved as an entrepreneur, and I wanted that information with, how to grow my business, how to grow my email list, and all the things that entrepreneurs juggle at the same time.
Juggling is a key word. Couldn't hit the button live. We're both
Yeah.
live, so that's cool. But I love the juggling because that's across the board, especially as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur. What are some tips that people, when they juggle where they're growing, they're being successful?
Well, I think it's priorities. Number one for me was focus. That was my word of the year a couple years ago. And it was really being, again, intentional, using that word a lot lately, but being intentional about where I put my energy and my time. And as an entrepreneur, I think many times when you're newer to the online space, you find all these events to go to and all this networking to do, but none of it really leads to making any money because you don't have a plan for your networking and you don't have a structure to those get to know you calls. I understand because I did hundreds and hundreds of meaningless calls that, never moved to that next step. So I think for me, focus was key, and I couldn't have too many projects. I love to learn and I love new shiny things. And I had to learn to keep the focus on the things that move the needle in my business, like my podcast, like doing other people's podcasts, because, get your voice out there in front of more people, and less networking, actually, because I curate my own networking group. So by focusing on that, it just seemed to work better for me.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do all of that, plus be in 6 or 7 other communities, plus have a coach, plus have a mentor, plus mentor other people. It was just too much. So, it was really about focus and saying no to more things.
Finding your ceiling, knowing
Mm,
what you can handle. Those are the things, because what you can handle is different than what I can handle. To the what you audience are listening to, going, you need to figure that out, and
yeah.
that's what you as a coach or any coach, people go out there can help them figure it out.
Mhm.
I selfishly want to ask you because I hear it 3 or 4 times a month. I love this networking thing, but it doesn't work for me.
Mm. Yeah, I was there. I was there, and I decided that if I was gonna continue facilitating events for other networking groups, if I was going to really put my efforts into leading my own group, I had to figure out the how, the what, and the why of successful networking. And I think it all comes down to this for me, that the human brain can remember about 100 people, maybe 150. And that meant that if I had 150 really close connections who knew me, knew my offers, I knew them, knew their offers, that we could intentionally create more business for each other. But the magic part is when you start to realize, okay, I have my 100, or I even have 20. 20 really good referral partners can change your business. But the magic came in when I learned, well, I can only remember 100 or 150 people, but I can have 1,000 people. I could have 10,000 people know me. And that was the game changer in my business.
Audience,
Hmm.
this is why she's on, because that's $1 million tip right there. Because me, I have 5,000 in my network. I look at my contact, I have 5,000. I know you have a lot.
Yeah.
We've talked about, do we know everyone intimately? But I can pretty much say, and I think you can too, that if I reached out to them, hey, I need something, I'm looking for
Yeah.
this or whatever, they're going to respond, whether I help you or not. That's the key.
Yeah.
Oh, so networking groups are kind of going away. They're still here, and I think they're powerful. COVID brought them all back. Where can
Mhm.
we go online? What is a big common mistake you hear or see from people when they're in network groups networking that they need to fix?
Oh, number 1, the group leader does not refer business within the group. The group leader is not connecting people within the group. That's the number 1 complaint that I hear from just people in general, my members, members of other groups. So, as a leader of a group, you have to lead by example. The leader of the group should have the biggest network within the group, be an awesome connector, and be willing. I'm really good at attracting people. I stay in my lane when it comes to what I do as a coach. Everything else gets referred out. And I had to become like that before I was making the income that I wanted, and that was the hardest thing to wrap your head around, to refer someone out for who needed a LinkedIn profile makeover, for example. I could do that like nobody's business, but it's not what I do. So, having a referral partner who makes incredible graphics and writes incredible bios and all of that was key for me. But when you have no clients to be able to give away business, that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, it is, because you look at that like we talked before the show. I'm not making any money. How do I serve?
Yeah.
So here's a question I don't get often, but I think it's people need to hear this. How do I be the best servant in networking groups, whether it's
Mm.
or the members?
Okay, I say this all the time also. I feel like I'm pulling out all my quotes today. Uh, you the value that you bring to a community is not your opt-in. It is not the top of your funnel. So, if you don't know what value you have that is not part of working with you. That's key. Because if you're always giving away your free PDF or your newsletter or some training you did, people feel as though you're baiting them in for a sale with that perceived value. So I kind of feel like the number one message that I say is if you're going to be of value to other people in your network, in a networking group, it is not what you give away to attract clients.
Yeah, and we've talked giveaway stuff, but
Mhm.
it's how it's given is the
Yeah.
key. Like you said, yeah, you're bait and switching. Like, hey, come to my newsletter. Oh, by the way, it's a $5,000 coaching package on the
Yeah.
back end. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, and you get that shot in the face
Yeah.
in networking groups. Well, the question came to my head that I think you deal with. Let's use corporate. So
Mhm.
this mindset, intentionally create the space for connecting. We need to connect in our corporate environments. We're not in it, but when there are people out there that do that, couldn't say
Yeah.
that. How? Because I think connecting is important. If you got 1,000 employees to connect with most of them, how do they do it within their corporate environment?
Well, I think it's a combination of leading yourself first. So, any leader has to be from the top down, right? And if you're not leading yourself well, for example, drinking too much, not sleeping enough, maybe eating junk food, maybe you're overweight, maybe your desk is a mess, then your employees look at you not as the leader they get to follow. Oh my gosh, how lucky I to work for Steve. It's, ugh, I gotta listen to that guy. He's a schlep. And I think that self-awareness piece for the leaders I work with is the number one thing we work on. And it's that self-awareness piece that allows you to be vulnerable and transparent with your team. And I don't mean vulnerable saying all your personal life and details. It's an understanding level of your team and deeply knowing someone else. And I think a lot of that gets bypassed more today than ever
Yeah.
because of the whole, you know, you can't touch anybody you work with, and you can't give a hug to a coworker, and there's a disconnection in that, and I'm kind of relieved that I left my dental job, 16 years ago to become a coach because I used to touch people all the time. And, you
Yeah.
know, apparently can't do that anymore. And but that human connection, when you actually care about somebody, whether it's a hand on the shoulder or, if somebody's grieving, I had many patients grieving who I would hug, and I never felt weird about doing that if somebody lost a spouse or worse, and I think a lot of that is missing in today's corporate environment. Therefore, people feel disconnected from the people they work with.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. I talk when I keynote speak empathy and love in business.
Mhm.
Suzanne, thank you. I love the report you just gave me. That's perfect. Without worrying about an HR claim, and I'm not in corporate, so audience, if I mess this up, you're worried about that. That's to me, that's okay, but we crave that.
Mhm.
Don't overdo it. It's like anything, the internet, AI, which we'll get into, everything. Just don't overdo it. Be
Yeah.
authentic and genuine, which is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we're establishing a networking's working. It will work. Me and you are extremely successful. I've had some big things happen. I know 16 years, that's huge for a coach, and you're
Mhm.
very successful with big groups. Somebody wants to do an event. Not everybody should. The audience don't think you don't need to do this.
Mhm.
What's the ROI and what's the steps to do that to really build a great networking event?
Oh gosh. Well, that was a long journey as well, and I started playing with this idea about bringing people together in real life. So, I had an in-person group for a long time, and my first event, nobody showed up. So that tells you how it goes when you first start. And over the years, that in-person group grew to about 37 active members that came twice a month for lunch and sometimes a nighttime event where we would bring strangers. And when I came into the online space as a coach, 2010, 11, I really thought, well, there's got to be a way to do this online. And of course, back then it was a Facebook group. And then with the invention of, Zoom or online meetings, I thought, wow, I could bring my worldly network together in one place. And if I like somebody and I get along with them, introducing them to each other had to be fun. So really it was created all with fun in my mind, and the meetings I was running for other networking groups were really more structured than what I was doing, and I noticed that there was more business happening within my group because
Mm.
people were getting to know each other on a personal level, not in this, breakout rooms with standard questions, and people were allowed to interact as humans rather than, oh, answer these 3 questions in the breakout room, and nobody ever talked business or referrals. So, I just noticed how fun and music and food and could really bring people together and get them talking about themselves. And I know, I'm sure for you as well, people invest in you and your belief in them and vice versa.
Yeah,
And I could create the world's best coaching offer, but that's not what would make people buy it.
that's
It's
right.
me. They'd
Yep.
wanna work with me.
Engaging questions
Yeah.
in a networking group, not how long you been in business, what's your challenges. That's what you
Mhm.
should do on one-on-one to learn about somebody. But engaging questions like, yeah, I hear you talk about, you've done this for 10 years. Why do you think you've been open for 10 years? What things
Mm,
like that. I
mhm.
love that. So I'm going to ask you one of those questions. This is
Okay.
it. But
Only if
you're,
you answer too.
yeah, I will. No,
Okay.
absolutely. Let's fair. We'll do a switch swap on the questions. And this is
Okay.
great, audience. This is a great role play of what you should do on a one-on-one. Suzanne, why do you think you're so successful after 16 years?
My personality.
And why is that?
'Cause I'm fun and I don't take nonsense. I'm very straightforward. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm always honest with people, even if it's a little uncomfortable, because that's what I want in return.
Audience, you see that? Most people look at that as authentic in general because it is, because I've known her really
Mm,
well, that's really the case. And thank you, because that's what I was hoping how you'd answer it. Because people are afraid to say, hey, I've done really well and I made this kind of money or
mhm.
got this or that. I've learned, and partly because an audience, she's taught me this, and I thank her to day's end, that it's okay to talk about your successes no matter how big they are.
Yeah.
So ask me that question. I want to be fair.
Okay. Um, why do you think you've had such longevity doing what you do?
It's a question that everybody can answer and be able to do. It's because I bring value to people. My
Mm,
goal every time I meet somebody is to uplift them, to serve them without any transactional thought in my mind.
mm,
Here's a quote that I use, and you talk about transformation: transformational, not transactional. If you follow that playbook, we'll use a sports analogy, great things are going to happen. They have happened to
yeah.
me. And here's the thing: you do and I do this, it's so much fun. You
I
get,
know.
thank you for connecting us, or hey, that resource helped. I just got one this morning. Gave somebody a resource. I can't believe you spent 30 minutes with me and helped me. Of course. That's the ROI people need to focus on, not the scoreboard. How much
Yeah.
money will I make off Suzanne? How many referrals is she going to meet? That's sports. This is not sports. We're going to take a break here in about 7 minutes, but when connecting and being genuine is great, but you're connecting and that person's not genuine. You kind of know their background and they're
Mhm,
just throwing fluff at you, like just to impress the hell out of you.
mhm.
As me receiving that, how do you think I should handle that?
Ooh, well, I have a BS meter that is really, really strong, and I think that comes from 15 years in the online space. I typically have it follow up with questions, and I can give an example where I was connected to someone, and she told me she had 10,000 members in her group, and I was like, "Wow, amazing. Congratulations." Now, in my research of this person, there was no online presence, there wasn't a social media following anywhere. So immediately, I had a red flag grow up, go up in my mind. I was impressed with 10,000 members, but now I'm really curious. So I said, wow, this is no small accomplishment. I've been growing communities for a long time. 10,000 members, $100 a month. You're doing really, really well. What do you think the secret is? And she wouldn't answer me. And I said, okay, where do all these people come from? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you don't have a website, you don't have a social media presence. It's not like you have 400,000 followers on Instagram. So, where have these 10,000 people come from? She ended the call with me. And I laughed. I thought, she thought I was just going to, you know, I am impressed with 10,000 members, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But now I'm ready to like find out more and let's have a conversation about this because this is amazing. 10,000 members at $100 a month. Like I'm invested in your success. This is amazing. And just out of curiosity, where do these people come from? Do you speak? Do you have a book? Like, where do all these people come from? Ended the call with me.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting in the audience? I don't know if you, because you don't know Suzanne like I do. She's asking these questions to learn, to take some secret sauce, and you do
Yeah,
it yourself. I would do
yeah,
the same thing. What's your secret sauce? She's doing it from a servant's heart. She's not pestering. She's not badgering. She wants to know more.
yeah.
Fortunately, when somebody's not authentic like that, when they get caught, that those things
Well,
happen.
I wanna when I meet someone who has it figured out, I wanna feature that person. I wanna bring you in front of my group of coaches and have a conversation about membership and engagement and all the things. And that's why I ask questions like that. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's not received as curiosity, it's received as nosy or, well, because people aren't used to engaging in actual conversation. And I mean, you told me the numbers. I can do math in my head quickly. So, what's an entrepreneur who's making $100,000 a month doing on the phone for a 15-minute sales call? That
Interesting.
that's not a thing that happens at that level. So, I think in the online space, you really have to be savvy. You have to be smart and articulate and know what real world business is. And I think that's been, I've made mistakes in hiring people, of course. I've made investments in different things that I shouldn't have, but that's where real growth comes from when you do stuff like that.
When it stings, it's better.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was. I bought Suzanne, $10 coffee. And I got nothing out of it. It's $10, but if it
Yeah.
10,000 on you and I got nothing from you,
Mhm.
that hurts.
Yeah.
especially as an entrepreneur. What could you have done with the 10,000? So many other ways that you could have taken
Right.
it. I love that. And
Right.
for audience, I want to focus on this. What she was saying was how she could serve her community by getting some help from having her speak if it
Yeah.
truly was happening. Again, and I'm bringing this point up a lot because we're afraid to be upfront like that. Like, where'd you find it? You weren't doing that going, oh, there's no way. You didn't know.
No.
She
No.
could. No idea. You were just asking. Because I did the same thing. I had a guy who I thought was doing well, and I don't ask this, but I said, how well did you do last year? He goes, I had $250 million in revenue. I'm like, holy crap. Like you with the
Wow.
10,000.
I knew you were doing well, but woo. All right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told him. And I asked him his secret sauce. He serves in the morning, serves the night before he goes to bed, and he has no competition. He has collaboration. And I
Nice.
asked, here's some people here. Hey, by the way, I need help here. He said, people started bringing me multi-million-dollar projects because I took care of them. They took care of me.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. And it's audience. Here's the point. Don't miss out on an opportunity to meet somebody like Suzanne. Be authentic, be genuine. Hey, if you made $0, there's no reason you can serve. I want you to talk about, we have a few minutes. Talk about that. People are like, I'm broke and how can I serve?
Well, that's a mindset issue. Your self-worth and your value is not determined by the amount in your bank account. So once you wrap your head around that understanding, you can still charge confidently for your services, even if you only have $60 in your bank account. Your energy won't be all wonky around money and sales. And that's a journey in itself. I had to go on that journey myself. But I would say knowing that you bring something of value to other people, just help somebody else. And I think because if you're feeling stressed about money and sales, then service to you is getting a sale. When that's a mindset shift, and this is why anyone who comes to me and wants to start a business or become a coach, keep your day job. Keep whatever is paying the bills right now so you can start your coaching and consulting practice or your soap business. You can start that with an abundant mindset because your basic needs are covered from your job.
You know, I don't dance, but I'm going to start dancing and doing this because I run into the same thing. Hey, I'm thinking about quitting my job. I've got a couple clients. No. Work. Get to the level you want. Audience, if you're thinking of starting a job or have an entrepreneur business, keep it up. There's no rules that say you have to quit your job. There's many. I think even you were a dental hygienist for a while as you're building your coaching program, right?
Oh, well, yes. And my very first business, early 90s, it was a retail chain of stores, started with one store, $3,000. End of the first year, I had done $1 million in sales, all while still working as a dental hygienist, because that's what gave me medical benefits. And I think because I had a job that paid the mortgage and the benefits, I was able to put more back into the business. And when I think about that, that's probably one of the reasons it was so successful is there was no expenses for the business except buying more inventory.
Yeah.
Sell some, buy some more, sell some, buy some more. And that's why exponential growth happened. So
Great
when I
business
think
model.
about that in my coaching practice, same thing. It was, let's not pay yourself. Now I'm lucky enough that when I started my coaching practice, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had left dental hygiene because my son was born and my husband had the bills covered and our benefits covered. And I figured it out without needing to pay myself. So I was able to be that go-giver right away. And I think that helped with the growth as well.
And you make that sacrifice for a few years. 16 years in, you're super successful. You're not poor. You're not homeless. You're not looking for your next meal. I don't mean that off the side. It's true. It's just a
Yeah.
few. We're not saying sacrifice for 20 years. Nobody's ever
No.
told you that. It might be 6 months and something happened, but you've got to kind of put more skin in the game. And by the way, she's got the most beautiful teeth. And that's what happens when you're a dental hygienist. They
Never
want
had
to
a
hire her. Yeah. Well, she's been talking a lot. I've got to give her a break, get some water. We'll take about a 5, 6, 7 minute break. We'll come back and learn about AI and her
Yeah.
beautiful podcast. She's an
Right.
awesome. So see you in about 6 minutes.
If you're struggling to attract the right clients, it's not because you lack effort. It's often about not being seen as the go-to person in your industry. But don't worry, we're going to change all of that, not only with this community, but with the things I'm going to show you within these mini trainings that are below and in the community as a whole. These are the things that I have done for myself that are currently still working in the marketplace today. And so, whether you're just starting out or you feel like you've hit a plateau, grab a notepad because we're going to be walking through those proven strategies for organic growth, and it'll have those leads coming in naturally. And if you're not quite at the 100K mark yet in your business, I'm going to introduce you to my Path to 100K course designed to get you on track and fast track the journey to success. Those trainings were part of a 2-year mastermind that I held, and each one of the trainings were between 60 and 90 minutes. And I'm re-recording them all for you to be 8 to 10-minute actionable bite-sized videos just like this one that will move you forward. And the only way to get that course is to message me and tell me you need it, and I will unlock it for you. All right, so let's talk about what it's really like when you're struggling to find enough leads for your business. You've been hustling, you're trying every marketing tactic, you're subscribing to stuff you don't need, and you've spent hours tweaking your website. Maybe you're running ads, maybe you're posting on every social media platform possible, and nothing seems to get people to message you, or even your DMs are being ignored because now they're seen as marketing tactics. So I get it. When you feel like you're spinning your wheels, things don't convert. This is an energy thing. We'll talk more about that in later videos. But it really feels like you're running uphill with a 50-pound backpack. And I've done that in a Spartan race. And trust me, it's no fun. So here's what most people don't realize. The struggle isn't usually about your effort or your skills. I'm going to say that again. The struggle isn't about your effort or your skills. It's often about your visibility and your credibility. If people don't see you as the go-to expert in your field, they won't come knocking at your door. And listen, clients don't knock at your door anyway. In 15, 16 years of being a coach, I've had one person knock on my front door that became a client. So it's definitely not enough to sustain you. You could have the best service or product, but without that trust and recognition, leads remain scarce. The problem is, from what I've seen, is most entrepreneurs are focusing on short-term, quick fix methods like paid ads, aggressive email campaigns, cold outreach. Yes, I used to do that. Once I messaged 900 people in a month, and
I could have that video keep going, going, going. If you're live, ask a question in the chat box. But as I'm listening to the video and thinking about what we talked about in segment 1, guys and girls, don't forget what Suzanne's telling you is all free. No Facebook ads, no coaching for 10,000, no buying the CRM for 199 a month. You eventually want to do that because you got to pay to play. That's a phrase I use. I don't know if somebody must have come up with it. But keep in mind, this networking, connecting intentionally is free. What a way to launch your business. And how would you think about this. How'd you like $1 million your first year starting a business? It doesn't always happen, but why not talk to somebody that did it, that experienced it, that lived it? Let's bring her back. God, I love this lady. I'm so excited to bring her back. Suzanne, we all nourished, and hydrated to keep going.
Yes, I did. I did as well. I have a new obsession. It's a sugar-free ginger ale with a splash of some kind of fruit in it, and it tastes like a Shirley Temple.
We're going to talk later. Look at that, audience. Now you get coaching advice, you get recipe advice. I love it. So before we get, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was listening to my own video that was playing, and I was like, wow, she sounds really smart. And I really liked it. I liked that video. I might have to use that more often. And I wanted to add one thing to what you said about wanting to do $1 million a year in business. And I hear so many people get the advice to do, when they're starting out, to do a course or some low ticket offer, something under $100, or a course for $297. And it makes me insanely crazy to hear somebody get that advice, because the amount of people that you would need to buy your $27 product or your $297 course is never going to pay a salary and your bills and give you the living that you want unless you're prepared to spend 5, 10, $20,000 a month on ads.
And that leads to do all that stuff for free to lead to a ticket offer. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
See, audience, she taught me. If she could teach me, you're all in good shape because
you knew that already.
Well, you did reiterate many times with me. I'm excited to talk about coaches in conversation. To me, complete game changer. Talk about that. Audience, there's the link that you can access to. Reach out to me and I'll get it to you if you can't grab it here.
Yeah, it was a monthly event that I wanted for myself because about almost 3 years ago now, I invited 7 coach friends to come to a conversation and talk about pricing. And it was a time in my coaching career when I was being challenged by my mentor to go for an up level in my pricing, my money mindset, and all of those things. And I had some friends that were coaches, but not in that conversation about actual business. So I said, let me bring them together. And after about a 90-minute conversation about pricing and how you determine pricing and lots of different thoughts and ideas, they all wanted to do it again. What are we talking about next month? And I just threw out there, let's talk about offers and offer ladders. And we did. And I recorded it and I transcribed it. And the content that I got from it was absolutely incredible. And over the last 3 years, I've continued to do it once a month, inviting my now 3,000 person email list of coaches. And many of my connections on LinkedIn are coaches or consultants. And it's because of that event that's really expanded my influence. And so much so, I didn't have an offer for coaches. I had nothing to sell coaches. So the conversation came off as very authentic and real because I wasn't there to sell them my coach mastermind or my coaching program for coaches. And after about 2 years, I was asked by 5 or 6 the coaches to create a program for them. And I was like, you're asking to pay me? And they said, yes. So I picked up my phone and called my 20 favorite coaches and said, I'm putting an 8-week program together to help you up level your pricing, your offers, your ideal client, your messaging, your online authority, and incorporate some AI tools into that. And I asked 20 the old fashioned way, phone, no sales page, no, none of that. And I've done all that in my life, but this was different. I just picked up the phone and called them and said, "Do you want to come play with me for 8 weeks in this program?" And every single one said, "How much?" And I said, "Well, this is the beta test version of this program. How about you decide how much at the end?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a servant's heart.
It was, but it was also they served me in a really big way. So the information that I got from them participating, all different levels of coaches, different amounts of time coaching, different types of offers, and the feedback I got, the case studies I got, the testimonials I received were so valuable in that up level of my coaching practice that I'm eternally grateful to that group of coaches, and they know who they are because I'm still in touch with all of them. And I think it was so important for me, in crafting a new offer for a new niche that I had to have more information before I did that.
And audience, what she's doing here, first, if you have a workshop, right? What a great way to start your workshop.
Mm,
She put it out there for you to use it. This is not proprietary, trademark. Oh, yeah. She wants you to use it. And I hope some of you do.
oh
And if you
yeah.
do, reach out to me. Here's the other component that I talk about all the time. Your best lead source is your contact list on your phone, which
Mm,
is what you did. You
mhm,
went coaches. And here's a tip I'm going to add because Suzanne's going to let me is send an email or a text, a quick question. Do you know a coach that would like to grow? I'd love an intro. She didn't do it. You didn't do it that way, but you reached out and said, hey, would you be part of it? Reach
mhm.
out to your contact list regularly, monthly, quarterly, whatever you decide, because
Yeah,
they love you, like you. They're on your contact list for a reason.
yeah.
Utilize it. And
A
I do
and
that.
I will say that one of my coach friends, we were on a call, just a normal catch-up call. We've known each other for 5 years. He said, "Oh, what are you up to?" And I said, "Oh my god, I just launched this beta test group of coaches. We're 1 week in. The content's amazing. It's this, and this. I'm super excited." And he was like, "What the hell? You didn't invite me? I want in on that." I was like, "You want in on that?" And he said, "Yes." And a light bulb went off in my brain about being so excited and passionate about what you were doing. The way you share it with someone makes them want to be a part of it. And that can't be faked. It can't be contrived. It has to come from here. And the way I was talking about what I was doing, and whenever I've been the most successful in any business I've started, was because I was excited and passionate about what I was doing, not because I wanted to sell something. I've created plenty of things in the last 16 years that I thought were going to make me a ton of money, and they never did.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we could do a mic drop, and I won't do that. I was about to do that. I'll probably break my mic. We could stop there, but we're not because I want to dive into somewhat quickly. We got about 10 minutes left here, a little less than that. You've got an AI mastermind. You dove into AI. Why did you
Yeah.
do that? What are you trying to accomplish with that?
My own productivity, really, curiosity, and I was just intrigued by having a thinking partner, and it was a great experience, and I stumbled across my AI mentor who just took things to the next level for me, joining his courses and his mastermind group, getting the right information from the right couple of people. I only learned from 3 people in the AI space, and those 3 people have been doing it way longer than me. And my focus in that space is tools for entrepreneurs to get more done in less time. Like I can do a PowerPoint for a presentation in like 4 minutes. And when I tell people that, they're like, oh, well, how? I need to learn that. And I love to learn. And I think when I realized that I'm very tech savvy and I was picking up things faster than others, I knew it was time for me to dive in and learn this, not only for myself, but for other people.
Yeah, and your mentor didn't complain that you did that. He
Mm.
embraced the. He actually joined you in a workshop.
Yeah.
Because people go, this is a perfect example of giving away resources. Not you paid
Mhm.
for it, but he didn't put this trademark. That's not the word, but put this block around it where you can't. Here, this is all proprietary. You can't share it. Audience, stay away from that. Open it up because look what happened. Now I'm part of it. Now I'm following him
Mhm.
because you shared it with me, and there's some stuff I've learned, and I may dive into the paid program. It just works so well. I
But
love that. But
but you know what?
what?
I wanna just say something about I was just on Jonathan, my AI mentor's podcast last week, and we actually fought back and forth about who was of more value to the other, which was super cool. And I was like, "No, it was you." And he was like, "No, it was you." And I think when I met him, his Facebook group was about 50,000 people. And he noticed me. He noticed me learning, taking action, asking questions, and also answering questions. So when somebody else was struggling, I would jump in and say, "Oh no, try this and try this." And that's being of value to somebody's community. So out of those 50, 80,000 people, he noticed me and said, "Thank you. Thank you for being of value to my community." I said, I'm learning so much from your community. And that's when I joined his paid offer. And now, we've taught workshops together and doing some incredible, incredible things. And he gave me a speaking gig on a major, major stage in April. And all of that comes from actually being of value to somebody who I was learning from, and he just happens to have a way bigger audience than I do. I did not pick him because he had a bigger audience than me. There's a difference, and it's a very slight difference, and somebody looking from the outside would see Sue partnering with someone who's bigger than her, like bigger list, bigger group, and he feels as though he's partnering with a quality business coach who knows what the heck she's doing, and so there's a reciprocity there between us that it doesn't matter the size of your list, but I think a lot of people wanna skip over the being of value piece and just go right to approaching an influencer and saying, "Oh, I wanna partner with you." But you haven't brought them anything of value.
Law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
Audience, to be a good connector, a servant's heart, be engaged.
Yes.
I do the same thing in sports. I used to hustle, run faster. I was not but coaches kept me on the team because I engaged. I worked harder. I did more. I learned
Mhm.
curiosity and all those great things. That's a great
Yeah.
example. I'm actually going to use your story when I mentor people because they're like, why am I not being noticed? Well, if
Mm.
you stand there an introvert with your hands, covered
Mhm.
on a virtual Facebook like that, and be authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be negative. Don't any of that. Just if you can answer the question, rewards will come. It's super simple. Again, it's the mindset. So we're coming at the end here. Podcast name, real quick. What's it about? I know people will reach out, want to learn more.
Yes, it's called Unlock Your Way with STK, and it started off as an online coffee chat series, just a live stream series, and as my guests and my reach expanded, I just decided to make it an official podcast. I had an incredible client who was a podcast producer, and he said, "You're really good at these conversations with people. Why not make it official?" So, I am 50 episodes in, absolutely loving it. You're gonna have to come on as a guest,
Love to.
and I think I pick people to be on it. My guest today, I had never spoken to him before, and the episode was like we were sitting at Starbucks, having a cup of coffee together, getting to know each other, and he truly, my gut was spot on picking him off of LinkedIn, like, just looking through my connections and saying, "That guy." The branding, the website, the message. It has never steered me wrong when it comes to connecting with other people. And then just
Power a-
asking, "Will you come
asking
have
is
a
the big key.
conversation with me?"
That's the skill set that people are missing too.
Yeah.
Ask. And that's the power of podcast. We won't get into it. Real quick question, because I know you've been on my podcast. I have a little different question. So
Yeah.
I've got a little jet sitting in the airport near where you live.
Mhm.
It's a four-seater. Of course, you're sitting in one of the seats. Who would you invite, dead or alive, to fly with you? Why?
Where are we going?
You have to tell me where we're going. Your decision.
Ooh,
You can do that first. So you tell me where we're going. Who would you invite?
my dad.
Mm. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Who else? You got two more seats.
2 more seats, then my mom.
Okay.
They're both deceased. My mom in '04 and my dad in 2010. And let's see, third one, Lance Armstrong.
Oh, very cool. Well, that'd be an interesting flight. Where are we going? 'Cause I'm
We're going
flying.
to the British Virgin Islands, a little island called Peter Island, and one of my favorite places that I got to go with my parents when I was about 16 or 17, and it's absolutely beautiful. The food's incredible, and the beach and the snorkeling and the scuba diving and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Audience, again, thank you. I'm going to call you
Yeah,
STK. STK, because I love that, your acronym.
thank you.
Audience, reach out to her, Suzanne Taylor-King on LinkedIn. I know she's on there. If you need information to connect with her, to do that. We'll put some stuff in the show notes. Connect with authenticity, with being genuine with that.
Yeah,
Listen, shut up, ask again, and just, again, smile and have fun with this. You could be as successful as Suzanne, and probably even more successful, because she'd want you to be that way.
I
So with
would.
that said, thank you for being on the show, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Together We Serve TV show, Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you so much, Steve.